All right, time to break down 4A and 5A basketball. And joined in studio by Matt Langley, basketballcolorado.com. Matt, great to have you.
Thanks for having me here. Great time of year.
Only 4 games yesterday that you went to.
Only
Just
four.
four. I thought
Just
you
four.
might be able to get to a few more.
I tried.
All right, Matt, let's try to break down 5A basketball here. And take a look at the bracket. And Eagle Crest gets the #1 overall seed. You see half of the Sweet 16 there. Eagle Crest gets Vista Ridge in the Sweet 16 round on Wednesday. And let's not forget, Vista Ridge has Hunter Maldonado, the Wyoming commit.
Yeah, this game's going to be really good, I think. Colby Ross going to Pepperdine, Hunter Maldonado going to Wyoming. 2 of the probably top 3 Player of the Year candidates in Colorado going at it in the Sweet 16. RPI did Eagle Crest no favors for being a #1 seed because, you know, if they move on, they'll get the winner of Smoky Hill and East, which is going to be another great game.
Matchup.
Yep.
You know, Denver East, to me, they can beat anybody in the state of Colorado with Dalen Kuntz, how good he's been. Smoky, you know, I know we've seen him a bunch. They're young but good.
At our preseason Hoops for a Cause event, we had Denver East and Smoky Hill go against each other, so we got a little bit of a preview. It's going to be a good one because those teams really like playing against each other, and their styles match up really well, so it should be a high-scoring, fun game.
Of course, you kind of start to prognosticate, say who's going to move on, and possibly could have a grade 8 matchup between Rock Canyon and Grandview. How much fun would that be? All right, let's take a look at the other side of the bracket in the Sweet 16. Thunder Ridge, the #2 overall seed, they'll get Rampart, and Rampart's a big club.
They are big.
Matt, they go 6'6", 6'9", 6'11" on that front line.
All right, Jackson Erlin and Dawson Carper are 2 of the biggest kids in Colorado basketball, and Jackson has had a great last half of the season, last month of the season, so Thunder Ridge is going to have their work cut out for them. And then there's Chatfield coming up next. Love that team, love how they play, love how they get up and down the floor. Joe Mix, yesterday in his game, was like 6 of 7 from the three-point line, and he wasn't even the high scorer. St. Germain was with 30, so that team can go. And then you got George, so if George and Chatfield meet up for that, maybe that'd be Final Four game, that would be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, and again, Chatfield's a team that they lost their second game of the year against Eagle Crest. They only lost by 2, but since then they have won 22 consecutive games. I think they're kind of flying under the radar a little bit. Not a lot of respect because, the 5A Jeffco just wasn't as strong as some of those other conferences this year. Meanwhile, you take a look at some other teams. George Washington. I mean, this is a G-Dub team that I think is built to make a run, are they not?
They are. They have one of the best players in the state, Gervais Green. Remember I said one of the top 2 or 3 for Eagle Crest and Vista Ridge. Gervais Green is that other one because he has been outstanding this year. But what's interesting is Arapahoe and Fort Collins. Arapahoe upset. Now, when we talk about upsets, that was an upset. Arapahoe beating Doherty last night. And then they get a good matchup with Fort Collins. So Arapahoe could find themselves in the Elite 8.
Yeah, that's an Arapahoe team, of course, coming out of the Centennial League. 5 Centennial League teams in the Sweet 16. Such a tough conference. And, of course, a couple teams in the top 4 with Eagle Crest and with Grandview. I mean, 5A, Matt, listen, this thing is going to be wide open. Is there a team that you're leaning towards over another?
No. because honestly, I think the top 4 teams, I went chalk in my picks, and the top 4 teams, I think all of them having a legit shot to win the championship. If you want to look at maybe a Chatfield or a Denver East coming through, that would be very possible as well.
Yeah, and again, Eagle Crest, a team that battle-tested, went to the championship game last year before falling to Overland. All right, let's take a look at Class 4A. You talk about chalk. That was the 4A boys. All the top seeds moving on to the Sweet 16. And there's Valor Christian, of course, state runner-up of a season ago, Matt. And here they are. They get the #1 overall seed, ready to make another run.
Yeah, and they're led by Jalen Sanders. He is an outstanding player, unsigned player that someone's going to be really happy they finally signed this kid because he can do it all. 6'6" wing, goes in and out. But again, we look at RPI. We kind of mentioned it a little bit with no favors for the #1. Again, Valor Christian didn't get any favors. They had to play a TJ team that was much better than it was at the beginning of the year. And now they get a Mesa Ridge team that is guard centered, and they can play and they can go and they run. So that's going to be a good matchup. Looking down kind of the rest of it, Durango's the one that we don't know about because they don't come out here. They don't come out east. So, and Evergreen has been really good in the 4A Jeffco, so that'll be a good one. and then Holy Family and Golden. Golden, I really like. Adam Thistlewood, one of the top juniors in the state, against one of the top sophomores in the state, Kyle Helbig and Tanner Baird. So, but Golden has this thing where they don't always play, like they've had the games against Valor and D'Evelyn, and they're just right there, and they haven't been able to get over the hump yet. So it'll be interesting to see if they can do that against Holy Family.
Right, you mentioned Durango and those Demons, 21-4 in the season. They have won 10 consecutive games. Now, on the other side of the bracket, here's where it gets fairly interesting because you have Pueblo South. They get the number 2 overall seed. Meanwhile, you have Pueblo West, the defending champs. They get the number 7 seed, and you know what? These guys could meet up in the Grade 8 coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, and I wish we had the Grade 8 back at the Coliseum so we could see this game because 4A games, all the Grade 8 games are at home sites, so I won't get to see it, but that's going to be a great game if it happens. But Pueblo South has got to get past Vista Peak, who they lost to earlier in the year, or who Vista Peak lost to earlier in the year, but they were without 2 of their main players in that game, so I think that's going to be pretty close. And then you kind of go down. D'Evelyn beat Sand Creek last year in the first round of the 4A playoffs. Deshaun Schwartz and Sand Creek, they're focused. He had like 30-something points last night in his playoff game, so they're ready to go, and that's going to be a good game. And then we look at Lewis Palmer and Sierra. That's going to be a close one. Sierra got a scare, a legit scare from Pueblo Central last night, and it took all of C.J. Jennings' 21 points to get him the win in double overtime.
I mean, what are we thinking? Are we thinking perhaps Pueblo West might be the team to beat? Do we see a rematch of the 4A state championship game last year where Pueblo West was able to upend Valor Christian?
It's very possible. It's very possible because if you move to the Final Four, this would be a really good Final Four, and we get the 3-4 really good teams. You get Valor, you get maybe a Sand Creek, you get Pueblo West, and then maybe Holy Family or one of the other ones out of that other bracket there. That's probably going to be the best Final Four we've seen in 4A in a while, and it very could end up being a rematch of last year's title game.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun coming up. Again, 5A boys side wide open, 4A wide open as well, maybe not as much as Class 5A. Matt, we always appreciate the insight. Hey, best time of year, enjoy it.
Appreciate it.
Have fun. All right, that's Matt Langley, basketballcolorado.com. Check out the website if you're a high school hoops fan. It is a must read. All right, one final timeout. We'll be back. We'll wrap it up here on the Xfinity Sports Report. Stay with us.